Welcome, Ultimate fans, to Ultiworld's live coverage of the 2018 U.S. Open here from Blaine, Minnesota. Ultiworld ready to bring you this matchup between San Francisco Nightlock and Boston Siege. Keith Rayner, joined by Becky Thompson in the booth for this one. Nightlock pulling in the blacks to Siege in the white. We're underway. A pick call, however, early in possession will stop play. Disc in the hands of Zoe Hecht. Now, Becky, these two teams, Siege, a team that's never been to nationals, Nightlock, a team that's well established. What do you expect out of these two teams as they match up in this full play game?
They're both pretty quick and athletic teams. Like you said, Siege hasn't been to nationals, and they're definitely looking to turn that around in this season as well. So definitely going to be a high-speed game, looking to prove themselves here, I think.
Renata Pepe with the disc. Another pick call as the disc goes over to Shirley Wool. Vertical stack here from Siege. Siege having a solid start to the year, but haven't scored a lot of major wins. Don't always get access to the most elite tournaments. And here, a great opportunity for them. Reset floating. Track down, however. Charlotte Duran looking over the stack, trying to find Pepe before the back line, but she can't keep it in bounds and come down with it.
And I like that shot as well, to go over the top to see an open offender streaking to that back corner of the end zone, but the wind also playing a little bit of effect today, so maybe just carrying that a little too far out of her hands.
We've certainly seen the conditions change quickly. We've seen intense winds, lightning, thunderstorms today, but right now it looks nice and the wind is fairly calm by comparison. Nightlock looking for a calm break. Kira Liu comes underneath and gets it. Megan Para up to Natasha Wan, but her throw floats. Caught on the second effort for a Nightlock break to start things off. Claire Sharman comes down with the goal.
Yeah, great second effort there from Charmin, turning around to find that disc over the top of her head and make a bid for the score. And that's the kind of thing we're going to see from these teams as well, Keith. They're both very gritty, and they're not going to give up on any disc. A great bid there from Charmin.
Neither of these teams were at the last tournament that we all saw, the World Ultimate Club Championships, but both Charmin and Juan were. Charmin playing with Cusp, the Italian team. Juan playing in the mixed division with Marvelous DC, if memory serves. So a couple of these players already in form. But this Nightlock team is very experienced, very little turnover. I think maybe 6 new players on the roster this year. They're a seasoned group. Siege a bit younger and a little more untested. You know, we saw players like Renata Pepe and Zoe Hecht. Hecht just finished up her freshman year at Oberlin in D3 in the women's division. Pepe, also a young player. She might be the same age, maybe a year older. A lot of young players in position to make a big impact for Siege as they attempt to break through that wall between them and nationals.
Yeah, and what a great opportunity they have here to exactly show what they can do as well.
Nightlock going to be a stiff test. Although Siege is 1-0, they started off the tournament with a win over Black Widows. And Nightlock 0-1, having to face perhaps tougher competition in their neighbor's Fury. Now a zone from Nightlock. This play reinitiates after the out-of-bounds pull. Trapped on the sideline. Charmin going to get the block in the cup. So not a great start for the Siege offense. Shayla Harris underneath. Advances towards the end zone. And that one's dropped. San can't connect with Eliza Chang, but they'll get a chance to set the zone with a full 70 to go for Siege.
I like this zone look from Nightlock as well. They're running with a 3-3-1, and their heads are constantly on the swivel in the cup, which is going to allow them to shut down those crashes as well.
And right now they're just attacking that open side with the short pass, not gaining field position, but gaining plenty of yardage. Some contact here is going to stop play. Disc in the hands of Wool. Sabrina Fong involved in the contact. Siege just continuing on that short open side and then blocked by Fong. An athletic play in the cup, but given back by Charlotte. So changes of possession coming quickly on this point. Frayden back up to Wool, up the open side again to Hecht. Siege playing with fire perhaps in this tiny sideline that they've been working up. So far, mostly unscathed. Big cross-field hanger drops in. Wilworth towards the end zone, and it pops over the head of Hecht. She deflects it. Can't come down with a second effort grab. Tried to show Sharman she could do it as well, but the youngster not able to make the play.
Yeah, just sailing over her head as she went for the second effort there as well. And Siege maybe just getting a little bit excited as they're right on the end zone line. They worked it all the way up, got a great crossfield throw that sat up into the hands of the receiver, but just maybe rushing it a little bit on the end zone line.
Speaking of rushing it, Nightlock trying to gain most of the yardage back in one throw, but not great control of the edge of the disc there, and sails harmlessly away. Wall again trapped on the sideline. Sneaks one off the sideline and towards the middle, but Siege back towards the sideline. Becky, with this trapping cup and these windy conditions, how can Boston manage to get the disc past this defense?
Well, I think we're going to see them try to do a little bit more of what they just did there. They're forcing a few of those longer throws over the top. That dishing, give and going is not working for them. They can't get it off that sideline.
Now it's Nightlock working up the sideline after the interception by Michelle McGee. Fong a couple yards outside the end zone. Resets to McGee. And Harris's offhand backhand over the head of its target. So another missed connection with Chang. Another red zone possession wasted by Nightlock.
Nightlock's going to be okay with setting up their zone here again, though they're on the same far sideline that they've been trapping Siege on the entire point so far. And Siege, like you said, they're going to have to do something different if they want to get it off the sideline.
Here able to expose the open side of the field with a speculative blade. Frayden over to Wool. Wool really in control of the offense right now. Taking on a pretty heavy burden. Lots of touches within the cup. Frayden blades over it. And McGee with the layout block.
And Nightlock is happy to bait them into those throws all day right now, Keith. They're waiting for those opportunities, and a great athletic play from McGee, but you could see her eyes were on that disc the entire time, waiting for it to come out of the cup like that.
Fong swings it. Now here's Chang. And it looks like this offense is just worn down, but Sharman rushes the throw and tosses what should have been an easy score out of bounds.
Yeah, and both these teams looking a little bit tired now. It's been a long point already here, trying to grind out this defensive point here for Nightlock, but we've seen them now a couple times making those critical errors on the end zone line, and that one, a wide open Hassan in the end zone for Nightlock, and they can't make that connection.
And Siege taking the timeout. You hesitate as a coach. You don't really want to take a lot of second point timeouts going upwind, stuck on your own goal line, but desperate times call for desperate measures, and going into their 6th possession of this point, I think Siege saw that they had to go back to the drawing board a bit.
Yeah, I think that they know that they're going to have to change it up, and like you said, second point of the game, not ideal, but you've seen it be such a long, grindy point, and those kind of points can be turning points in major games as well. So just want to settle it down and maybe look to do something different. Those crossfield throws are working for them, but they got to have a way to then transition to move it further up the field after they get that crossfield shot.
Do you feel, Becky, like they should continue to attack that low side sideline where they can push and gain yardage, or would you try perhaps a different tact at this point?
Well, I would try to switch it to the other side of the field at this point as well. I think that they're getting too stuck with those little dishes, and they're getting a little bit lucky with some of those crossfield throws as well. So I would like to see them push it a little bit more to this sideline of the field and work on maybe some of those same dishes, but just switch it up a little bit.
We'll see what they try as play reinitiates. Players repositioning. Frayden checking in. Wind picking up a little bit here. But now not trapped on that sideline, and here a near Callahan, but both players emphatically holding up the disc to show that they had possession. So looks like Fong may be conceding the point. And an injury call. So Annalise Heisentrut stepping off. Melissa Ellis coming on. And possession begins again for Siege, still looking for their first hold of the game. Frayden claiming that one was knocked out of her hands by an aggressive mark from Charmin.
The Nightlock here is looking in dangerous Callahan territory as well, as we saw that almost Callahan right there. They're pushing Siege further back into their end zone, and they're very comfortable to do so. They've put on a 3-person cup with a mark as well, so they're really taking away those reset opportunities here for Siege.
Really able to apply a lot of pressure as Siege doesn't have a lot of places to go, and the wind is preventing them from really attacking over the top much. Wool going wide to Woolworth. Not a complex zone, just like a pretty standard setup. 3 players up front, a really tight short deep with these winds. And their stuff. Attempt to huck it out of the end zone, and Chang rejects it. And the quick score for the break.
That's 2 goals in a row there for Charmin as well. It was a good first cut from her, knowing that her thrower can make that little high release break side shot as well, wide open into the end zone. And credit to Nightlock for continuing to press that zone. They knew that eventually Siege was going to want to try and force it out of the cup, and that's what led to that great block there.
And, you know, it's easy, especially on a long point with a bunch of changes of possession like that, for your cup to just kind of get lazy, maybe put their hands down, you know, they're just going to swing it, blah, blah, blah. But great heads-up play. Chang, active hands, ready to make a play when the disc came her way, puts her hands up high when necessary, and knocks that one down. So 5 blocks for Nightlock and a pair of breaks, or and a pair of breaks to start the game. So they're up 2-0. Now they will send a defense out that has been pretty successful. Imagine we'll see some new faces for Siege after that long point. We'll see our first touch for Nikki Ross, perhaps the biggest addition to this team, and immediately foot blocked by Natasha Wan. No mercy here from Nightlock's defense.
Yeah, Juan read that one perfectly, saw her winding up for the big hook there and was not going to let her have any of that.
So now Nightlock trying to advance, but that one floats. Knocked away, but some contact in the pile. Not surprising to see this kind of play with the disc hanging.
Yeah, you get a lot of bodies right under the disc there, just kind of crowding together as well.
So you guys are going to me?
Yes.
Okay, so observer rolling, it's no foul, it's uncatchable.
Okay.
It was way over everyone's heads. So it's going to be here. So you're the closest. I'm going to get out of your way. You're going to tap it in, okay?
So we hear the call going to the observer, and observer rules uncatchable disc, so there's no foul.
Yeah, that one just hanging up there. Lots of bodies underneath it, and maybe definitely some contact, but if that disc isn't catchable, it's not going to be a foul.
And the tenacious defense from Nightlock continues. A layout block from McGee, her third block of the game. And even though possession given right back, still got to imagine that's leaving a mark on the psyche of this Siege team. But they do get the hold as they go into the end zone for their first goal of the game.
Yeah, and Siege will be very happy to have managed to get that downwind hold. What a great layout D from McGee. Unfortunate for Nightlock not to keep that in their possession and take advantage of such a great athletic play. But Siege, we're seeing them a little bit more consistent on that point there. When they did get the disc back in their hands, they looked like they valued it a little bit more. We just got another look at that huge layout D from McGee there as well. What an incredible play.
And the fast break the other way results in a goal for Molly Morgan. Sam Gray hitting Morgan up the line for the hold, but I think Nightlock's going to be pretty happy with where their defense is right now.
Yeah, if I was them, I'd be pretty excited about another chance here to go downwind as well with the zone set. And they know if they do turn it over that they were able to shut Siege's offense down on that last long point that we saw. So I won't be surprised if we see a similar zone set come out here as well, Keith.
See what Siege has planned is get our first look at the Nightlock offense. And unceremoniously, the hand block on Ross right after I shouted her out. But we'll see her pulls one of her specialties and one of the things she brings to this team. Experienced player who's spent a few seasons with Green Means Go. Key addition for Siege. We mentioned a very young team and could use the veteran leadership. A Nightlock moving the disc up ahead. Rachel Habert. Audrey Lyman, and now advancing the disc to Iris Leung. She's not able to apply much pressure on the mark so far. Habert back with it. Up to Leung with a vertical stack ahead of her. Inside break, however, behind the cutter and knocked away by Ross.
And Nightlock here has opted to go with a person matchup rather than their zone as well, maybe looking to force some good one-on-one matchups here, and we've just seen a miscue there as well, as that disc was also going a little bit out of bounds.
Yeah, Ross, a little too casual with that throw in the wind, just not putting any power behind it. So it floated up, but given right back. Habert looking for someone cross field, but nobody's home. So another upwind full 70 for Siege. Difficult to figure out your spacing here because the deep space is kind of inaccessible if you can't create room to throw to it. But you have to make a team respect you if you want to be able to free yourself up. Chelsea Mower gets it over to Frayden. She tries to put it upwind, but short-armed and intercepted.
Yeah, Frayden there just getting a little bit excited. She had open receivers, but with this wind, that throw has got to be spot on.
Now Lyman into the end zone to Maggie O'Connor for a Nightlock hold and makes it 3-1.
And Nightlock changing up their defense there as well. They opted for the person-to-person look rather than the zone that we saw before, maybe just trying to figure out how their matchups look against this Siege team, and they did a very good job to force that huck option as well, knowing that that upwind throw is not necessarily going to come out the way that Frayden wanted it to.
Well, now the Siege offense will get a chance to go downwind and maybe perhaps open the field up a little bit more, because this Nightlock defense has been aggressive and has really been dictating this game through these first couple points.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to want to get another upwind break here as well. Those upwind points are so critical whenever there's wind like this as well. Can really add up to being the difference maker between winning a game and losing. And Nightlock up with that one upwind break right at the start of the game. I'm sure they'll be looking to do the exact same here.
Siege gonna have to try and turn things around at some point, but as I often say, offense philosophically protects your chance to win, defense attacks your opponent's opportunity to win. Right now with the offense out there, all they can do is try and protect their chances for their defense to go get. Duran, inside break for Pepe is just a bit too far. So a quick turnover for Siege.
Yeah, and Siege needing to just value the disc a little bit more here, I think, Keith. They've got to take advantage of these possessions because Nightlock's only going to give them so many opportunities at this point.
And a short field upwind for Nightlock. A score here would be huge. Two quick throws get them to the goal line. Jacqueline Wynn looking to reset and a layout grab to save it. Megan Para making the grab. There's a pick call away from the play, so the disc is going to go back to Wynn. Oh, never mind. They'll change their minds on that one. So Para keeps it. About 10 yards out. Duran on the mark and transitioning to a vert set. Fong to Juan. Resets. Fong does a split, getting off the break throw, and finds Wynn for another Nightlock break. They're now up 4-1, and the mistakes coming back to haunt Siege's offense.
You could see Wynn there at the front of the stack. She kept waiting to time her cut, and she kept taking a little step back until the disc finally came over to this near sideline. You see her time her cut. Disc goes a little bit high, but I mean, for the 2018 Callahan winner, I'm not sure that's much of an issue there.
Especially an athlete like Wen can go get it, but look at Fong getting low to get that throw off. Heck, doing what you're supposed to do in that situation, trying to get wide, trying to get her hands out to make the continued throw difficult, but Fong getting to a really tough angle to stop to get that throw off, and the throw wasn't perfect, but worked out, gets the assist, and again, that short field turnover looming large for Siege, who seems to be struggling in the conditions against the pressure of this Nightlock defense.
Yeah, and that goes to say as well that Nightlock has also tightened up their offense as well. They're not making as many mistakes, so if Siege is going to give the disc back to them, they are starting to capitalize on those mistakes more and more.
Nightlock, of course, named after the Hunger Games theme, and right now it doesn't look like Siege is going to survive the night. They can't figure things out. Pulls out of bounds, however. It's going to give them quality field position as Ross picks up, but she'll look at a Nightlock zone. Back to Wool. But the swing mistargeted. So another short field conceded by Boston. Chang gets the around off to Fong. Continue to a wide open Harris, but it looks like there may be a pick call.
Yeah, Shayla Harris was very open there, so.
Suspiciously so.
Suspiciously so. Understandable to see that there may have been a pick on that play.
So the disc back with Fong. No reset. Gets some help, however, from Swinnerton, and then turned over.
Yeah, Shayla Harris there thought that disc was going to somebody else behind her, so she stopped her cut instead of running onto the disc, and that's an unfortunate miscommunication there from Nightlock to really take advantage of another short field turn from Siege.
But so far, these mistakes have not really hurt Nightlock when they're going downwind. Siege's upwind offense just hasn't been able to get anything going. Now looking to Ross for the huck. And a tough read for Gray, and she can't quite find the line. But they do get some superior field position.
Yeah, and it gets to a point where you don't want to turn it over in or near your end zone, so you're going to want to put those big hucks up. And that one was one of the better long shots we've seen from Siege as well, getting a little bit more force on that disc to give a chance for the receiver to get to it. But another opportunity here for Nightlock.
Fong bringing it in. Short throw up the middle to Harris. Horizontal stack, creating lots of space on the open side for Nightlock, and now they go all the way to the break side to Swinnerton. Fong continuing to try and get these arounds off, but this one not the right edge in the wind, and it is pushed down to the ground.
Yeah, the wind is really forcing that far corner of the field to be a bit of a danger zone here for Nightlock. They've had quite a few turnovers going to that side of the end zone, so they're going to need to clean that up, put a little bit more love on some of those discs.
Siege's offense could use a little love as they're still trapped near their own end zone. Tracy Lum resets to Wool. Ross fires a backhand through the middle, but the presence of Fong, I think, distracting Hecht. She can't catch that one. Give and go for Fong. And just a front cone goal for Para. Extends the lead to 5.
Yeah, Para made that little tight space in the near side of the end zone look like it was her home territory there. Took one inside step and jabbed towards the inside cone of the end zone. And Nightlock really working well when they have the open side to work with as well.
A 5-1 goal differential now for Nightlock. Siege probably missing their coach, Jason Adams, right about now. Adams just recently named to the U.S. Under-24 national team coaching staff as an assistant coach on the women's team. Those recently announced coaching staffs. And there's some U24 alums on the Nightlock side and some young players on the Siege team who may be vying for spots on those teams. Do have a timeout from Siege. They'll have to turn elsewhere for leadership. Adam's not present today.
Yeah, it can be hard in these kind of grindy, windy games as well without a coach and that presence to be able to look at what's going on from an outside perspective and be able to make those adjustments that you can't always see when you're on the field.
Absolutely, and something that can help you see what adjustments you need to make is looking at footage. We've had a lot of coaches who are benefiting from the Ultiworld subscription package to get access to all the video footage we have available. We've got a ton of games coming into the film package. Just added so many from World Championships. A great chance to see how people are playing the game, whether it's your team, your opponents, or you just want to learn from teams you don't get a chance to see. Ultiworld.com/subscribe. You can find out not only about the options to get access to that video package, but the other wonderful benefits that come with a subscription, and you can support the coverage that we do of club, international, youth, and college. So check that out when you have a chance. Got a little bit of everything here. I mean, we've got these great club teams, but we also have youth play starting tomorrow, under 20 and under 17 play, and starting on Saturday. And later this weekend, we'll be able to stream some of those YCC games for you. This is technically ICC, the International Club Championships, not to be confused with the World Ultimate Club Championships or the World Ultimate and Guts Championships. But I think everybody's just going to stick to calling this the U.S. Open.
Yeah, and significantly less international presence here from previous years as well. We see a lot of teams who would usually make appearance here who have opted not to come based on having just played World Clubs about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago now, and spend quite a bit of money to go to those tournaments as well.
Yeah, only a single international team competing in the women's division. Black Widows, who fell to this Siege team in the previous round. Early deep throw going up from Siege, and can't quite stay in bounds there. Tessa Jones trying to get it up there, and unfortunately it's going to yield poor field position for their defense. Marissa Rafter trying the disc up to near midfield. And I think this is a chance to look at the field from a perspective of the low side and the high side. And so we see that throw come off the hands of its intended target.
Yeah, maybe just a case there of thinking about the next decision before making that catch.
And gets it right back with a hand block, but a foul call from Wool. Hassan and Wool engaging now in discussion. But this far sideline, it looks like the low side of the field. It's the side that the disc is going to be pushed towards. Let's take a look, listen into this conversation and see if we can figure out what's going on.
Uncontested foul.
No contest.
No contest.
So an uncontested foul means the disc will stay with Wool. But the low side of the field has been where Siege has been forced to play a lot of their offense by this Nightlock defense. And you can see how it affects these throws like the deep shot that couldn't come back in bounds.
Yeah, we're getting another one there. And Nightlock's had this issue as well. Whenever they're throwing to that side of the field, their discs are being pushed down to the ground very quickly. So the wind definitely taking an effect on the far sideline.
You can see Nightlock working their way to this break side, trying to get to the high side of the field, but Rafter's throw turfed. One of two Callahan winners on this team. That's not how she won it necessarily, but obviously an incredibly talented player. Heisentreit, high release backhand, and only the offense knows where that one was going. Wilworth there to collect it. And a hold for Siege gets them their second goal.
Yeah, Wilworth unmarked there, and a good vision to notice that and to hit that high release shot into the middle of the end zone. And Siege now with an opportunity to get an upwind break that they desperately need. If they could get a break here now, they could be back in this game, Keith.
Absolutely, and the other big part of getting a break is if they can get an upwind score, then they force Nightlock to try and work upwind, and maybe you can get a pair of breaks out of one. A little buy one, get one free, the break store. Although I can't imagine there's much for free against a team like Nightlock.
Yeah, we've seen Nightlock start to figure out a little bit. You saw even though Raptor's throw was turf there, they really are trying to swing it to this side of the field and get it away from that side that's pushing all those discs down, and unfortunately that one goes into the ground. But it's going to be interesting to see if Siege can do the same thing. If they get this disc back, they're going to have to try to bring it to this sideline.
Yeah, and the advantage really of playing from the high side is that if you can get off a deep throw, it's often going to trail into the middle of the field rather than out of bounds. Give yourself a better chance at it. It can be so hard to get out of that low side of the field if you send the disc there. Have to value that high side. Habert fields the pull. Emmy Kalance putting up a deep throw from the middle of the field, but it's beyond the reach.
And that's another example of one of those throws to that downwind side of the field, not sitting up again. And that's a good shot, though, from Nightlock. There's an open receiver streaking to the end zone, and we haven't seen a lot of hucks in this game due to the wind, but I think Nightlock here trying to just time those a little bit better and get some good throws off.
There, an upwind huck from Frayden, trying to get that one out of her own end zone. It's turned over. Habert. A reset cut behind. Something Nightlock has been doing very well in this game. Making those reset cuts. Coming from behind the disc and working horizontally across the field. Kim Long gets it back to Habert. And Angela I just with the short flip to Lyman for a smooth hold for Nightlock.
Yeah, and I had about 4 or 5 different options to throw to the end zone before she found an open receiver, and I think that speaks to Nightlock's chemistry and their ability to make and clear their cuts. Clearing as quickly into the stack as you made your cut is just as important, and I think sometimes underrated in Ultimate as well, and Nightlock just did a perfect example of that, making space for the next cut until there was an open option for either.
Yeah, your cut's not done until you've cleared. All about taking and making space, and you don't want to take space if you can't make space, you know? Right now, Nightlock has taken a big lead on this Siege team and looking to make their way towards halftime with a 6-2 advantage. Siege sending the offense back out. Maybe a few personnel changes to account for the wind.
Yeah, Siege is going to have to value the disc here a little bit more. They really need to get this hold, and 6-2 down, 4 points down, but at this point with the wind, like you said, you get one of those breaks upwind and you're right back in this game. That gives you an opportunity to get that downwind score again. So Siege, to stay in the conversation here, they've really got to get this hold.
Nightlock now trying the zone, even though Siege going downwind. We haven't seen much of that yet. Wool swings it over to Duran, and she finds a nice hole to Pepe for a big gainer. And some bodies on the ground there, so there's a stoppage. Just a foul call. So disc is going to go back to Pepe, it looks like. She resets to Duran. high stall, and Durant forced to just try and get rid of that one. Knocked away by Want. Great reset defense.
The defense just taking away any option there, so running out of options, had to shoot that one towards the end zone.
Juan over to Chang. And they're knocked away. Nice job by Heisa, tried to jump the lane, helping out from the poach. Throw to the end zone, beyond the reach of Pepe.
And again, that side of the end zone just not being anybody's friend right now in this game. But better defense there from Siege on that last possession for Nightlock. They are getting their heads up a little bit more and looking for those poach opportunities. Hoisentrate with a great little hand block there, blocking the lanes on that poach as well. So Siege maybe just starting to come up with a little bit more intensity in the defensive positions.
Juan. Initiating cut, well defended by Siege, and now stall count climbing, but a call stops play. Juan looking for Para, but she can't bring that in. She tries to toe the sideline. So a short field opportunity for Siege's offense. Lum up line for Wool, and Wool bids but can't quite get to that one. Juan up ahead to win. Gets it back in power position. Doesn't really have anyone going. Nice counter cut from Chang to gain yardage on the under. 7 cut from Wynn to Swinnerton, and then easy continue to the break side for Kira Liu, and the captain gets the breakup wind, makes it 7-2 Nightlock.
Yeah, Nightlock maybe a little bit lucky to get it back after that short field turnover, but once they did, they made easy work of that, and I really like watching the way that they cut one at a time out of the stack upfield, and Wynn there being open on 3 different possibilities for a cut, keeps making that cut and looking for the throw on each one. Once they get it to the break side, they were off to the races.
Lou getting the score there, her first year captaining this Nightlock team, and you could see, like you mentioned, that chemistry on display from them, and we talked about how they have so few new additions. Nobody had to wait to find another target there. After they hit that initial break throw, it was bang, 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 3 throws into the end zone. And all on the break side before the defense could ever recover. Swinnerton just with a quick continue. Lou with plenty of separation on that break side.
Yeah, none of the Nightlock players holding the disc for more than 1 or 2 stalls there once they got it over to that side of the field. And that's exactly the kind of efficiency you want to see out of any good offense.
So all of Nightlock's goals so far have come from red zone possessions. They've had quite a few of them in the game, but even missing on 6 of them, 7 for 13, I guess that would, if I had to do the math. My friend Daniel Prentice was teaching me math on the previous live stream. So now, if my math is correct, Siege will need to hold if they want to continue this half. Resets to Ross. Now back to Wool. Nice cut from Siege, now looking at a high stall. Forced to punt it. It's a jump ball. And Sharman, it looks like, comes down with that.
Yeah, it's a great job from Sharman as well with that many people in the same space not to have any contact on a play like that.
Swing all the way around to Fong, and she'll go up the middle to Harris. Zone now from Siege. Looking to slow down this Nightlock offense. But they have plenty of forward momentum as they go to McGee, and now McGee towards the end zone for O'Connor. And she flips it for the goal that takes half. And an impressive showing by this Nightlock team with an 8-2 advantage as we head towards the halftime break.
Yeah, and Siege, they're trying to do something different. They're trying to put on that zone, like you said, to stop maybe the momentum of the Nightlock offense. But credit to Nightlock there. They're not fazed by anything different, just flowing nicely into a zone offense set and just tic-tac-toeing all the way up the field into the end zone.
Excellent offense from Nightlock with a dominant first half. We'll see if Siege can find any answers. They're going to take about a 10-minute break to figure it out. We will do the same and join you in just a bit. Welcome back for the second half of this pool play matchup at the U.S. Open in the women's division between San Francisco Nightlock and Boston Siege. A dominant first half for Nightlock. Defense came out firing. Offense has picked up where the defense left off, and they hold an 8-2 lead receiving to start the second half. Becky, if you're in that Siege huddle, you're trailing by 6 coming into the second half, what are you talking about at this point?
Well, at this point, I'm trying to get my team to be a little bit looser as well, maybe take a few deep breaths. We saw them try to force a few things near the end of that second half. They were getting a little bit nervy and trying to punch it through upfield. So take a deep breath, settle down, enjoy this moment a little bit more, and sometimes doing that can allow your team to go on a run.
They'll have to try and get the disc out of the hands of this Nightlock defense. Emmy Kalan's looking to huck and blocked, but somehow still caught. Great defensive play and slightly better offensive play, but on the second try, Siege does get that one. Ross able to get the block.
Yeah, Ross just baiting her offender in Iris Lung there just a little bit, hoping to get to that disc ahead of her and force the throw from Hassan up.
And then Ross doing what she typically does, immediate deep shot. Molly Morgan gets underneath it. Fraden to the break side, and a miscue there. Chelsea Mower not keeping her eye on the disc there. High throw intercepted by Ross. Two of her teammates collide. So Poison Troy, who's been one of the most active players for Siege, unfortunately going to have to sub out on an injury. Caroline Collis coming in. But Siege with a chance to start the half with a break. Morgan looking to the end zone. And if this one could stay in bounds, it could be that break. Katrina Meserve catches it, and Siege starts the second half the best way they can. A break to make it 8-3.
Yeah, Siege's first break of the game and their first score up in this end zone as well. So great to see maybe a little bit of momentum shifting now as they've got that upwind score, that upwind break that we talked about in the first half. And Siege looking a lot more calm and in control on that offensive point.
Absolutely, and perhaps with the wind dying down a bit, they seem a little bit more comfortable, maybe a little bit looser, a couple deep breaths in the halftime break like you mentioned, and come out in the second half with a big play. A couple of big plays. I mean, they almost had the great block. Hassan somehow able to catch it on the second effort, and then Ross getting one of 2 blocks. So the defense is coming out trying to take the disc away, and you like to see that to start this half.
Yeah, we saw a little bit of that energy start to show up at the end of the first half as well, so it's great to see that that defensive momentum didn't stop through that halftime as well. They've come back out in the second half, and they're still firing and looking like they really want the disc.
We see Ross and the D-line talking about trying to get another break. Now perhaps they wish the wind would pick up a little bit. They finally get Nightlock going from right to left, and the wind not really at their backs anymore. Ross sets up a big pull. Misfielded. So a bit of a short field to start. Lyman, inside break, up ahead to Hassan. Hassan, one of the under 24 national team alums you mentioned. Stoppage is, there's a pick call, so Lyman will keep the disc. Another inside break, and now Kalant's putting up another backhand huck, looking for Hassan, but it's hanging and intercepted. Nice defensive job by Kennedy McCarthy.
Yeah, McCarthy read that one all the way, managed to get the inside position on Hassan as well, just beating her. No chance to come around McCarthy there to get the disc.
Kalans has been aggressive with the disc, throwing deep. Hasn't really gotten a lot connected yet. McCarthy. And that one's picked off by an opportunistic Hassan.
You could tell Hassan there was hungry for that disc as well. She maybe wanted to get a chance on that deep shot that McCarthy managed to grab from her, so great to see her immediately attack the disc back again.
Sets them up with the red zone possession, and now Lyman resetting to Habert, catches it just past a bidding defender. Kalans inside break, but a little bit of an odd moment as a bid there from Leung is dropped.
Yeah, Leung bidding for that one that was maybe just needed to jump out, just to reach out and grab it rather than put herself in the air, maybe give herself a chance to more control.
And an equally odd turn on the throw to Ross. It just kind of bounces around and gets away from her. And a quick conversion from Nightlock after the mistake.
Yeah, we've seen a few kind of those miscues here from Siege as well. They cleaned it up on that first point coming out of half, but now we've seen 2 red zone turnovers in a row on that point from them, and that is something they can't afford to give back to Nightlock. On that second opportunity, Nightlock was not going to make any mistakes.
I mean, you love that your defense is able to go out there and get 2 more turns after generating a couple blocks in the first part, but offense really getting nothing going there. Give Nightlock too many short opportunities, and there they take advantage.
Yeah, and you see the way that Hassan was cutting as well before the disc was even picked up by her teammate, making that cut to the end zone, which gives you the separation to secure those discs. And we've seen Nightlock do this time and time again. They're cutting to that break side with no hesitation, and they're getting so much separation. It's looking like an easy score every time.
Absolutely. The break side has been an effective weapon for Nightlock's offense. And there we saw them using the inside break lane a lot on that possession, or on that point rather, attacking with the inside forehand. And after so many possessions using that around backhand, perhaps opening up room for them to attack from a different angle. Pull from Kalans drifts out of bounds, so Frayden, the Tufts EWO alum, brings the disc to the middle. Sharman on the mark. Wall telegraphs that throw, and it's intercepted by Juan. Now Swinnerton. Back to Fong. Inside break. Caught by a bidding win. Nightlock in the red zone and finishes that off with an open side throw to Para for another break that makes the lead 10-3.
Fawn there for a few passes there was going every other throw on that point for Nightlock as well, just taking control, acting kind of as the general of this Nightlock offense, and that's the kind of things you see from such good players. They're calm, know when to make that cut, and then allowing Wynn the space to make that throw into the end zone as well. And Nightlock looking absolutely in the driver's seat of this game right now. Siege needs to just gain a little bit of momentum. They haven't scored more than 1 point at a time in this game. Maybe if they could get 2 in a row and know that they have that ability, it could change a little bit of the game.
Nightlock got off to kind of a middling start to the year with so little turnover and a lot of talent and experience and a lot of history behind them. I think there was an expectation for them to be perhaps a stronger unit this season, but Pro Elite Challenge, they got some okay wins, some okay losses. Not a lot to really define one way or the other to move the needle. What do you think is the potential of this Nightlock team this season?
Well, from what we've seen kind of in the second part of this game, the end of the first half, start of the second, I think the potential is quite good for them to be pushing for maybe a quarterfinal look at USA Nationals in the fall as well. They're definitely an athletic team, and they've cleaned it up, and their defense, we've said it before, their reset defense particularly, they're not giving Siege any options, and they're forcing them to throw into these narrow spaces. So if they can do that to some of those top teams, they're going to put up some good scores.
This is a team that's had a lot of runs to quarterfinals, but never really threatened a lot of the Big Four, as it were, and are just coming off a pretty emphatic loss at the hands of Fury. What does a team like Nightlock have to do to overcome that gap?
I think some of that might be a little bit of that mental intimidation too, especially playing against a team like Fury. They've seen them so many times, and a little bit of, we're playing Fury. It's the same thing that we've seen before, but they've got to get away to play their own game and focus in on what they're doing and not what their opponent is doing if they want to challenge those spots.
Another turnover for Siege gives Nightlock a chance to add to their lead. Rafter inside break up to Lou, and we've seen this movie before, but a pick call may give us a little rewind. It's back a couple throws. Back to Lou. Nope. Changing their mind. It's going over to Juan. Juan checks it in. About 6 yards outside the end zone. Back to Rafter. And a beautiful around break from Rafters, just short of the end zone, so she'll settle for the secondary assist. Although this one again called back on a pick. No surprise, Lou popping out of the middle of the stack at crowded position. Lou makes the same cut, however, and frees herself up from Durian for another goal.
And Juan with the exact same throw there as well. You could see that eye contact between the two of them right before the disc was tapped back in. And that's, again, we've talked about the chemistry more than once in this game, but that's exactly what you want to see coming out of a call. And Juan makes that look so easy into such a narrow space.
Juan, a experienced player, has played in plenty of international competition, played mixed with Polar Bears for a couple years before joining this Nightlock team, and seems to really be hitting the stride of her game. She's kind of right in the prime of her career and seems to be in a position to become one of the most critical players to this Nightlock team's success.
Yeah, we've seen her out on a lot of defensive points here, and when they do get that turn, she is one of the ones picking up the disc every time. She is making the decisions on the field and kind of quarterbacking it a little bit. So not surprised to see her in a very dominant role throughout the rest of the season.
Nightlock never has been a team that's really been overly reliant on any single individual. They've been a team that spreads out a lot of the production pretty comfortably, and that's in some ways feels like a lot of their team identity is getting contributions from players all over the roster. We've seen that in this game. So Rafter's pull is caught by Ross and centered up to Frayden. A couple short throws for Siege to get things started before they find some room for a gainer. Up to Xenia Rodenko. But her throw hits the ground, and Siege with another giveaway.
Yeah, Rodenko with absolutely no options upfield there. She got left alone from the reset option as well and had no choice but to try and put any throw up.
Nice defense there by Nightlock to put Rudenko in a compromising position, and now they are advancing towards the end zone. Fong around break for Rafter. Vertical stack, just attacking from the front of the stack now is McGee. McGee with lots of room to throw to the break side. And that's an easy toss for another score and another break.
There's a much cleaner second half here from Nightlock as well. They've come out and absolutely trying to take no mercy on the second half of this game. Siege trying to find something that's working for them, but their cutters are moving too far away from the disc right now. They're not cutting back as fluidly as they were trying to in the first half, so running out of options, and Nightlock taking advantage of every opportunity they get now.
Absolutely. Their offense is, after the turn, has been very effective as Siege seems pretty worn down. Tough to stay in it mentally with a 9-point deficit. I see lots of teams find different tactics on how to deal with this on both sides. In fact, in the Ulti World office, we were starting to have a debate about the merits or demerits of a game-to-3 system. Some teams you hear talk about games to 1. Every point matters. And other teams don't bother with it. They just want the wins and the losses to stand on their own right.
Yeah, I personally like the game-to-3 standpoint in some of these tough games, especially when you're down. You know, say, let's win this next game to 3 and make it really hard on a team like Nighthawk to win the game. Make it so they have to earn every single point and every single disc as well. So sometimes when you're on that downside, I think that game-to-3 system, or game-to-1 win by 2 can work very well.
Oh, I'm a big believer in games to 3, and the reason for that is I like the opportunity for your team to fall behind or get ahead and have to deal with the inherent challenges of protecting your lead or getting back into a game within a small circumstance. But I still like breaking the game up into chunks that are a little more manageable and that you can create emphasis. You can emphasize different points in. Hey, in these first couple games to 3, we want to be focused on this. In these last couple games to 3, we want to be focused on this. I like the opportunity to do that with my team, but I understand that different coaches have different methodologies.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we saw Nightlock do that a little bit in the first half as well. A couple points they were out in their zone. The next couple points they were out in that person set again on defense. So taking those opportunities in those chunks to break it up and to try things out, especially with a big tournament like this. Teams like Siege and Nightlock are going to want to work on a few things to go into the next games to have the kinks sorted out.
Absolutely. These two teams are in a pool with Fury, Molly Brown, Black Widows, and Showdown. So if Nightlock wants to make it to the semifinals, probably have to get a win over Molly Brown to do so, and even that might not guarantee anything. That's assuming most of these other games go to seed. Siege, if this result holds, they will take their first loss of the tournament, so they still have lots of opportunity in front of them. Duran with the reset over to Wall. Now up the middle for Pepe. A lot of short yardage gainers here for Siege, who hasn't really been able to open the field up. Even as Nightlock has switched to person. Reset over to Jones. And they're knocked away by Lyman. Good pressure from Nightlock. That has been unrelenting. Earned back by Duran. There they're trying to open up the field. But contact there. Hecht tripping up on the legs of her defender.
I think Hecht just about to jump up for the disc there as well, so I won't be surprised to see a call on this play.
Duran with the deep shot, looking for Hecht. And I don't know, I'm not sure that the defender was really illegally taking space away from Hecht. It seemed like Hecht just some incidental contact.
Yeah, and on a second look, you can see the disc trail away there as well.
Let's listen into the conversation.
Who threw that? All right, don't move, just in case.
So you guys happy with a contested foul or accepted foul? Contest? No contest. No contest. No contest. So this is going to be your disc right here.
Well, that's why they let the players control it and not the commentators. Uncontested foul means the disc will stay with Hecht. Hecht High stall count, but finds Pepe in the open side for a Siege hold. Makes it 12-4, and now they'll have the opportunity to try and get that first back-to-back score.
Yeah, and it's great to see Siege come out of a timeout as well and immediately get a hold. That's the kind of offense you want to generate. You've brought yourselves together. You know you're down by several points here, but to come out of a timeout and execute the way you want to definitely can give you a confidence boost, even this late in the game.
So the Huck from Duran, the Vanderbilt alum, spent some time playing in the Boston mixed scene before joining Siege. Gets it over to Hecht, and she finishes to Pepe. So now Siege will send out the defense. You can see Ross directing things. Despite being a rookie, a lot of experience there.
Yeah, I always struggle with calling a player like that a rookie, although new to a team. Like you said, so much experience behind a player like Nikki Ross, and definitely has a leadership effect on this team as well.
Ross ready to pull here. So now trying a zone. Siege had a couple chances to do this, but not a ton from defense. Nightlock moving this quickly to find some holes. Swing around the Lyman. Lyman with a great throw through the middle. Transition from Siege in a matchup. Lyman saves that one. Right up the gut, but the high release backhand to a cutter not cutting. So a turnover there in the red zone for Nightlock and a chance for Siege.
Yeah, and Siege busting out a little bit of a difference on that zone offense or defense set there as well. And they held it a little bit closer to their end zone, which I think actually helped cause the miscommunication on the play there as well. And a good opportunity to get that back-to-back score.
With the turnover there, she tries to throw to the front of the stack. So a short field opportunity for Nightlock to hold here. Habert picking up. Resets to Ai, and now back to Habert. And another look to the break side for Nightlock gets them a goal.
I like the way each Nightlock player only holds the disc for a stall or two, even right at their end zone set. They look into the end zone, they fake once, maybe twice at most, and they're immediately going to the reset after that. And I think that opens up so much opportunity in their end zone for them. And we see them cutting one at a time once again, making that look easy. And a little bit unfortunate for Siege. So many times have we seen them give the disc back to Nightlock near their end zone, and that is something that going into the rest of this tournament, if they want to make a run towards qualifying for nationals this year, they're going to have to figure out a way to value that disc near their own end zone.
Absolutely. The trend has continued. Nightlock, every score they've had has been on the red zone, or within the red zone. Short throws have been working for them, and part of that's because they've been given so many red zone possessions close to the opportunity to score. So they've been effective there. So Siege back out on offense. Nightlock's defense looking to add to a very impressive blocks total. They've been aggressive all game. A learning opportunity for Siege to get reps against a team as aggressive as this Nightlock's defense has been. Frayden catches it under pressure from Lou. Ellis finds the reset for Duran. High inside break, pulled in by McCarthy, and now she's taking a shot. Wilworth and Chase gets to it just outside the end zone. And then into the end zone for Hecht. And we noted that Siege hasn't gotten back-to-back scores. That's the first time they've gotten back-to-back holds. Hecht on the goal.
Yeah, and Siege coming out with a little bit more fire on that point as well. That's the first big downfield huck that's worked for them, as well as they grinded that one out into the far corner of the end zone. And I think we're noticing as well that the wind has really tailored off. That throw to that side of the end zone not being pushed down as much as it sits up into the hands of the receiver. And McCarthy there, huge grab on this near sideline, gets her footing right away to make that huck. That's a great athletic play.
And you mentioned the wind dying down. I think that's maybe lending some confidence to this Siege offense. They're saying, hey, you know what? The winds, this conditions are not the same as they were in the first half. Let's put up some shots. And here you see McCarthy just winds one up. Well tracked down. And Wilworth able to finish the possession off with the throw to Hecht.
Yeah, Hecht was making that cut all the way up the field. As soon as that huck went up, she had her eyes on the end zone, and that's exactly what you want to see from your teammate after you come down with a huck just outside of the end zone. The continuation right there. And Siege, 2 good holds in a row, like you said, and see if they can generate something exciting on defense here.
End on a high note here. Siege with the defense out. We'll see if they try some more zone. Ross with a monster pull. Goes up ahead. Dai. Now person-to-person matchup defense from Siege. Keeping Nightlock on that open side, but they're taking that 10-yard lane and expanding it all the way to the end zone. Young with the goal. That makes it 14-5.
That's the first score we've seen from Nightlock not in the red zone, as well as the first huck that's gone up and caught in the end zone there by Lung. This is a good shot. Takes a moment to look for her upfield options and a perfect around backhand into the open hands of Lung. That's a great pass that you want to see go up. No athletic effort needed to get to that disc. No bid needed. Perfectly into her hands of her receiver.
Not often you see a player go up the line, catch it, and not throw right away and kind of wait for a chance to huck. Saps some of the momentum you get from that power position, but when you've got the throws and you got someone with separation, you might as well just take your time. So this is the second of 3 games we have on the live stream here from Blaine, Minnesota. Coming up, we've got a highly anticipated matchup, maybe the best matchup in pool play across all 3 divisions. Seattle Mixtape, Seattle BFG, reigning national champs, reigning world champs, neighbors, friends, countrymen, countrywomen. I know I'm fired up for that one.
Yeah, it's going to be an incredible matchup coming up here next. And BFG, of course, the reigning World Ultimate Club Championships 2 weeks ago in Ohio as well. So they'll be looking to keep their title as the top Seattle team coming into that game.
So the pull up from Nightlock, and Frayden will center to Ross. Hecht with the underneath. And then a drop from Eisentreit. McGee, chance to put this one away with the throw to Sharman, and Fong finds Sharman for the final goal in this one.
We're seeing another put go up from Nightlock here that's not in the run zone. Sharman immediately cutting towards the end zone as soon as that turnover came, and Nightlock making this look easy. And unfortunately, the story here for Siege, too many unforced errors, giving the disc back to Nightlock, and Nightlock in the second half especially took advantage of those opportunities.
Really just a all-around dominance here from Nightlock. I won this game in every phase. So Siege looking like a young team right now. fortunately for them, lots of opportunity throughout this tournament to continue to grow and prove that they belong. I mean, they'd love to earn a bid for the region, and this loss won't help them do that, but they have plenty of other chances to do that this weekend. For Nightlock, they pick up a lot of momentum after taking a big loss in their first round, so we'll look forward to what they have to offer when they get to compete against some of the rest of this pool. But that's going to do it for this game. Nightlock with a 15-5 victory over Siege. But we are not quite done yet. We're actually going to bring you a little bit of bonus coverage. We're going to swap over to a game between Sub-Zero and Johnny Bravo in the men's division that we have going on the field behind us as the cap horn goes off in the distance. So we see a score there from Sub-Zero that makes it 14-11. Minnesota on top. The hometown team, you know, we just watched Bravo win the Pro League Challenge when it was in their hometown. Maybe Sub-Zero can do the same.
Yeah, you always want to come out strong when it's at your home fields as well, and the opportunity to even have fans with you as well can be such a good and important game changer in a lot of these big games.
Take a look at some other scores also while we're jumping in on coverage. Very close one in the mixed division between Mixtape and Public Enemy. Public Enemy up at last count, 9-8 over Mixtape. Meanwhile, also in the mixed division, Slow White with a 13-12 lead. They just broke against Madison Noise. If you want to follow along with all the updates here from Blaine, ultiworld.com/live. It's the place to do it. Watch the live stream, get the tweets coming in, also see what articles go up, maybe catch up on a preview you missed. You see the poll go up from Sub. Bravo earning a lot of respect with that win at Pro League Challenge, but going to have to do more here as Lori tracks down the wide throw and then just hammers it across the field for easy hold. But now they're going to need breaks. Bravo in a hole against Sub-Zero. Ben Laurie just whipping that across the field.
Yeah, wide open receiver there for Ben Laurie, not taking really any hesitation to throw up the hammer. We talked about the wind dying as well, so making that an easy shot for a player like Laurie to make to the far side of the field.
A couple more score updates for you. Dominance for last year's semifinalists in the women's division. Ozone with a 15-5 game over Rival. Impressive stuff. Molly Brown with a similar win, 15-6 over Black Widows. Slow White now with a 14-13 lead over Noise. Public Enemy and Mixtape still embroiled in a close one. Pull going up from Tulit. Sheeta takes the centering pass. Flood play. So putting up the deep shot. Lots of separation, and that looks like it's going to be the game. Sub-Zero with the upset over Johnny Bravo, 15-12.
Just making that last point look so easy as well. Two wide open receivers going to the end zone, and that's not going to be difficult for Sub-Zero to capitalize on every time. A good end to that game.
So Sub-Zero with an impressive win here. That's going to do it for this round of coverage. We'll be back for Mixtape and BFG in just a bit. For Becky Thompson, I'm Keith Rayner. Thank you for joining us.